Have you ever not wanted to spend time with friends or family because you'd chop them up into chunks and bits and have sex with the chunks and bits and put the chunks and bits on a Cobb salad and feed it to your parents?
If you'd be so kind, would you mind introducing yourselves for the podcast, starting on my left?
Hello, my name's Levi. I play drums in Organectomy.
G'day, I'm Alex. I do the vocals.
Hello, my name is Ashton. I play guitar in Organectomy.
My name is Tyler and I do bass in Organectomy.
Sam and I play guitar.
Okay, so we are back at, across the street from Valhalla on the second night of the Symbiotic Metal Fest, which you guys are headlining. And you guys actually have a close connection to the fest because this was started by a member of Organectomy. Is that right?
Yeah.
So it was started by Jay, our ex-drummer, who recently departed from the band, which is all good. We're all still on good terms and all that. But so Jay started the festival about 4 years ago. It was 2014, was it? 15? No.
Yeah, 2014.
Yeah, 2014. So it's been going like every year. It's moved between Wellington and Christchurch, and it's still going today. And this is the biggest one this year. Three nights.
Yeah, well, it's the biggest one that's been held so far.
Yeah,
I'd say.
Six band. That's the 3 nights and
It's 20 bands total.
20 bands
Should be.
all around the country. Yeah.
When was the first one?
Probably 2014. It was in Wellington, I'm pretty sure. And then the year after, there was a one-off summer Symbiotic Summer Slam or something like that, and that was hosted in Christchurch. And ever since, they've kind of had pretty good turnouts due to just the amount of New Zealand bands showing up. So there's just plenty of people that know the actual people in the band, so everyone kind of wants to go see their mates play, and then it turns into just some real big rowdy gig.
Has Organectomy always been playing the fest?
Yeah, so far we've played every show.
Yeah, so it's always been, I guess, for Jay, the benefit of putting on your own festival. You can get your own band to headline it. Yeah. So.
And has it always been roughly the same format where it's, you know?
Well, this is like I said, the first time it's been 3 nights.
Last year was 2 nights.
Yeah, last year was kind of like black
metal.
metal, and then the day after was like death metal, deathcore kind of stuff.
But I mean, yeah, this year was more focused in the themes. So last night was more blackened stuff,
And
then
cult.
yeah, just death metal, more brutal stuff tonight, and then a lot more deathcore, hardcore influence tomorrow night, which is cool.
Are you guys comfortable playing with different kinds of bands?
Of course.
Yeah,
And
for sure.
definitely.
We kind of know a lot of the people from most of the bands in New Zealand anyway, so
Yeah.
since everyone knows each other, we don't really care what kind of genre it is. Yeah.
You kind of have to be in New Zealand because there's not enough of a huge scene to be all exclusive to one kind of genre.
I mean, your drummer Levi played last night with Vargafrost, so it's a kind of scene where everyone is kind of in a different band.
Yeah.
That's only the surface.
Well, that's just
goes much
Levi.
deeper.
Levi's in like 20 bands anyway, so it doesn't matter.
He's playing 4 times over the weekend.
20 bands playing different instruments in different bands too, right?
Yeah,
Yeah, everyone's in the
20
same.
bands might be an example.
It's just 5 guys. There's just 5 guys in 20 different bands.
Let's talk about Organectomy a little bit. When did you guys form, and what did you set out to do?
So I started Organectomy in my second year of high school. It was 2010. I was probably 14, 13 years old. And it was just me, because after I heard In the End of Human Existence by Putridity, that's when I first got into slam, and I was like, fuck yeah, I just have to start a slam band. And I wrote terrible songs, recorded them with Audacity and a SingStar microphone. And then I realised I was going nowhere, so then I asked Sam to help me out a wee bit, and then from there we got Jay, and then we went through a whole bunch of different band members, and now we've got these guys.
Which is awesome. Solid as fuck.
When did you put out that first, was it an EP? Impale the Bitch?
Demo.
Impale the Bitch was recorded over a weekend when it was snowed in Christchurch. It was like the last time it snowed, and we all hung out and played in the snow, and then decided to record our album, our EP demo thing.
2011.
Yep, and we half-assed the entire thing, recorded vocals in about 30 minutes, did everything as fast as possible, and then some people ended up quite liking it, so we're pretty happy with it.
Became a bit of a cult classic in Christchurch.
Yeah, everything we used was like free or trial things or torrented. So I think it was torrented Addictive Drums, a free trial of Guitar Rig, and
Put out 2 albums after that, right?
2 EPs.
It was just there was At the Mercy of the Divine EP, which was my first feature with you guys,
Yeah.
which was
2013.
yeah,
And then the 2015 promo,
yeah.
which when we re-recorded Impale the Bitch and a few other cool songs which we don't play anymore, and then we put together Domain of the Wretched in 2017, and that's when we took things a bit more serious. And,
I found like we since we did everything ourselves back at the start, then we kind of had recordings that we thought were cool, but like after listening to them a bit more, they kind of get a bit old really quick just because of like the quality of them. And then since Domain of the Wretched, we like decided collectively to all really put like everything into it, especially Jay. He put heaps of work into it, and then we ended up just getting something that we haven't like heard. Well, we didn't even think that we could make something kind of like that, so we were pretty chuffed with what we managed to do.
Where was Domain of the Wretched recorded?
Ashton's house, Alex's house, our band shed,
Sam's house.
Sam's house.
Was it self-recorded?
It's self-recorded. It was it was just mixed and mastered by Demigod Recordings in Portugal.
Yeah, we owe a lot of our sound to that guy. He also did Analepsy and
Miguel Teresa. Sorry if I butchered your name, bro. I found him through doing Analepsy's most recent album, and then I wanted that for my own solo project, Rendered Helpless. And then all these guys and Jay heard what he did with my album, and it just went off from there pretty much. It was just like, fuck, we need that as well. It's just a sequence of events, really, one after another.
I do like the raw sound of the earlier EPs, but this new album, the production is like an entire light year ahead. Was that exactly what you guys were looking for? Were you looking to get that produced, I guess is the word?
Yeah, well, like we said, we heard Alex's solo project, Rendered Helpless, heard that mix and master, and we were like, let's give this a shot with our music.
I think we
so
went
clear and so thick.
I think I went to Sam's flat once and we were listening to it, and I just was like, we definitely. That's when I got hooked on like the idea of definitely like investing our money into getting this guy. Like a large part of our budget went towards being able to pay for the mixing mastering by Miguel.
Fundraiser gig came from, wasn't it?
Yeah.
Just
True.
to help pay for that album, help save up as much as we can to get as good a quality as we can. Yeah, it just kind of fell into place, really.
Worked good with it.
Yeah.
And it was released by Unique Leader. Had you guys signed with them before you released it, or before you recorded it, or was recording done before you?
It was a re-release, so we released it ourselves, just via the Slam Worldwide YouTube channel, and then we sent it around to a few places, and this was the end of 2017, December 2017, and then pretty much over the new year, we got an email from Eric Lindmark asking for a phone call and a chat, and he basically said he'd love to take us on and re-release it, and we were absolutely stoked to be a part of that.
I don't listen to a lot of slam. I don't have anything against it. I just, there's just a lot of it. But one thing that I appreciate about the scene is that it's very close-knit and not regional. Do you know what I mean? Like, there's slam bands in Russia, there's slam bands in South Africa probably, there's slam bands in South America, and they're all very interconnected and they're all very supportive of each other.
Yeah, we do get reached out to by a lot of different people. Like even Extermination Dismemberment followed my personal Instagram account somehow. I don't know how they found it, but they found it. But yeah, it's like, and we get messages like from other big name bands out there, and like them tagging us in their Instagram stories and stuff, like of them listening to our albums and stuff like that, and like seeing all these massive bands that we like look up to and get inspiration from ourselves. It's like real crazy, and it's like kind of hard to believe that like so many different people and like really far away bands like that I consider to be in a different league to ours, like actually listen to our stuff and enjoy it, which is pretty cool.
Yeah, I mean like Maddie Way from
Maddie
Putridity, like our main inspiration.
I've been listening to that guy's band since I started listening to death metal, so it's hear him say he really digs our album is like probably one of the more surreal things that's happened in my life.
Yeah. To hear him say he loves my to hear him say he likes my vocals, that's just a fucking mind blow right there, because that Anomalies, is it Anomalies? Yeah, that just fucking stepped up the game, how brutal that was. To hear him flick back and say, hey, I think your vocals are brutal as well, it's just fuck. Man, how does that get out, How do people find this? We're just some band from the corner of the world.
Power of the internet.
Yeah, power of the internet, that's the one. Meme slam!
Speaking of coming from the corner of the world, tell me a little bit about Christchurch. What is the scene like there? And what was it like growing up as a death metal fan in Christchurch?
It really depends on like what area you're from, because because a lot of us went to the same high school and we all knew each other, and like the older kids at our high school, they were in death metal bands as well, and then they knew the guys that were older than them, so it was kind of like we had people older than us that we looked up to, and then they had people that were older than them that they looked up to, and then it was just kind of like everyone sort of knew each other. And at first it was pretty like hard starting a band in Christchurch, especially trying to get gigs that people would go to.
Zebedee's all ages venue.
There's an all ages venue, there was an all ages venue that anybody could really host their own gigs at, but you kind of needed to have a decent enough following for people to go. But I think the biggest early break we got, I think we opened for our mate's band Plague of the Fallen for their EP way back in I think 2011, and then that's when we kind of got into the scene with the older guys, and then once the older dudes like heard that these young kids are playing like old school slam, like we played pretty like standard chuggy stuff back, and they kind of got real into it, and then they started coming to more of our shows, and then we started getting more shows with some of the older bands, and then we kind of like slowly built our way up to being able to host our own gigs, and then have like other bands come be a part of that. And since we were one of the younger bands, then we could bring all of like the same bands that were around our same age group, and then we all had our own gigs together. And then it was just kind of like mates hanging out with each other, and we just played music, and then if people came to the shows they came, but if they didn't, we didn't really care.
I talked to a band from Christchurch yesterday, and they're telling me that there is a big, or I don't know, big is a relative term, but there is a death metal scene there with regular shows.
Yeah, for sure. I mean, it's quite cool. Like, it's like the age range for the metal scene there is so huge, but it's really a proper community down there, and there's no age discrimination whatsoever, and it's really nice.
The only thing that I kind of dislike about the scene in Christchurch is the fact that there's no all ages venues. Well, there's one, but there's no really
DIY venues.
Yeah, so just young kids that are starting their own bands because there's not really anywhere to play.
Yeah, so the scene, 5 years or so, there's teenagers down there that just aren't playing the way we used to back in the day, which is quite sad to see, just because there's nowhere for them to play. And because of that, I think the scene is somewhat dying, but time will tell.
Just that new generation that we haven't seen yet, kind of thing. Like, it might be happening, but once they start popping up, it's like, oh fuck, there's all these guys. But yeah, from the outside, from just looking in, it's just like, well, where's everybody gone to? Where's all the venues gone to?
When I was under 18, I remember there were heaps of gigs that I just would love to go to. Missed out on so many bands because I was too young. So I kind of maybe sort of hope that there's a whole community of those dudes that we just don't know about because they can't go to our shows. Yeah. That sucked.
So the last time I was in New Zealand, I was asking a bit about New Zealand style of death metal, because there is a perception, and maybe it's a misconception, that there's a style of death metal that comes out of New Zealand, and that there are a lot of bands that play that style. But just based on what I'm seeing at this fest, it really seems like it's a lot more varied and eclectic than people think it is. Would you agree that there's a New Zealand style of death metal, or?
I think if there had to be one, I'd think of Ulcerate straight away. That's what I would imagine people think New Zealand death metal is.
Yeah.
And certainly I feel like Organectomy's taken a lot of inspiration from those guys.
Yeah.
And I'm sure other bands have as well. But I don't think every band necessarily has that sort of sound.
Yeah, it's not like the old fucking Swedish metal zone tone, that kind of sound. They're just super overdriven. We don't have any real signature thing like that I'm aware of.
I feel like maybe 10 years ago bands kind of had, now it's like there's every different type of band you can think of, but 10 years ago, maybe 15, there was just kind of just a lot of New Zealand sounding death metal bands. Even the Ulcerate demos kind of just sounds like, kind of just like like you said, like a New Zealand style type thing, or sound. But you can't really describe it from me.
It's like trying to pick out your own accent in your own country. It's like you're all playing the same thing or speaking the same accent. It's not until you get out and hear everybody else talking that's like, oh shit, that's super different. There's a way that I would look at that. But yeah, I mean, Levi's probably been in enough bands to have figure out that there's a constant theme somewhere.
Yeah, I'll think about that, because that's a good question. I like a lot of New Zealand bands. A lot of them are really, really good. I don't know. Maybe it's
In fairness, it may be coming from the fact that if you like Ulcerate, you try to find bands that sound like Ulcerate. You know what I mean? And so there's a perception that, so if you end up finding Creeping or Satentia or something like that, you say, oh, this is what New Zealand bands sound like, when it's not really the case.
There's far too many bands to just nail it down to an Ulcerate-esque, kind of.
Well, there's not many bands that sound like Ulcerate.
No, that's
That'd be awesome if that were the case.
That is a very hard band to emulate.
Band that sounds quite like Ulcerate.
I feel like why New Zealand has such a wide array of different kind of sounds for death metal is because in reality in New Zealand there's kind of sweet fuck all to do. Except start if you're interested in metal and playing guitar and shit like that, then of course you're just going to sit down and jam out because you've got nothing else to do. So then you and your mates start a death metal band, and then a few days later you hear a hardcore band, or let's start a hardcore band, and then a week later you hear a sick black metal band. Okay, let's start a sick black metal band. So a group of guys could be in a band, 3 different bands, but it's still the same guys, and they just write different songs and release them under different names. But I feel like there's no bias towards a certain genre, except once you get into more of the mainstream sounds, and that's kind of just New Zealand in general, with all the amount of tradies and people like that listening to just more hard rock and just standard heavy metal that you hear on the radio and shit like that.
Yeah.
But death metal's a little bit more underground, but still.
So what's next for you guys?
So we're finishing. This is part of a 6-date spread out tour. So we're doing Wellington tonight, Auckland 17th of November next month, and then the following weekend we're doing Australia for the first time, Brisbane, Sydney, Melbourne, and then after that wrapping up with a home Christchurch show, and then we're back up here in Wellington to track drums for the new album, and then that should be out around April sometime.
Also on Unique Leader?
Also on Unique Leader, yes.
Thank you guys. I realize it's extremely cold. Appreciate you taking the time. Take care.